So as we embark together on this new space era, let's seize the moment. Let's be ambitious, and together let's inspire the young people watching us to reach for the stars and become the next generation of scientists, engineers, and explorers. Merci tout le monde. Thank you, everyone.
He pumped me up. That was nice. Next up is a group of people who need little introduction. Our agency leaders who know firsthand what it takes to fly in space. Please join me in welcoming NASA Administrator Bill Nelson, Deputy Administrator Pam Melroy, and Associate Administrator Bob Cabana.
Hey, everybody. Members of the NASA family and the Canadian Space Agency, my colleagues, my former colleagues, members of Congress, members of the Artemis generation, we are going. Pam, Bob, and I operate as a team, as a crew. And we are here today to introduce you to the crew that will launch next year, 2024, to another celestial body. The largest, most powerful rocket in the world is going to propel them onward and upward into the heavens. And they fly to the moon. This is Artemis II mission. It's a mission that is significant in many ways. It's a demonstration of our ability to push the boundaries of human achievement. It's a testament to the unwavering passion of the team that will make it possible. And it's a message to the world. We choose to go back to the moon and then on to Mars, and we're going to do it together. Because in the 21st century, NASA explores the cosmos with international partners. We will unlock new knowledge and understanding. We've always dreamed about what more is ahead. Why? Because it's in our DNA. It's part of us. It's who we are as adventurers, as explorers, as frontiers people. And throughout history, humankind has gazed up at this celestial body, the moon, with wonder. And the space program propelled the moon to the forefront of culture and consciousness. It galvanized a historic effort that we are now the stewards of. The moon is a symbol of our can-do spirit. And over the course of the Artemis missions, the first woman and the first person of color will take giant leaps on the lunar surface. It's been more than a half-century since astronauts journeyed to the moon. Well, folks, that's about to change. The mission to the moon will launch 4 pioneers, but it will carry more than astronauts. Artemis II will carry the hopes of millions of people around the world. It will carry the aspirations of the NASA family who glance up at the moon every night, knowing their efforts will return us to the moon. And it will carry the dreams of students who burn the midnight oil in libraries and laboratories, preparing one day to support an Artemis mission. And it'll carry the inspiration of the children who imagine themselves soaring in the skies. We will show what is possible when we dare to reach distant cosmic shores. The crew was selected by the Director of Flight Operations, Norm Knight, and the Chief Astronaut, Joe Acaba, and under the supervision of the Johnson Space Center Director, Vanessa Weiss. Will you all please join us up here? And I want to acknowledge again our Canadian partners, Minister Champagne, Francois Philippe. Will you please come up, please? The Artemis II crew represents thousands of people working tirelessly to bring us to the stars. This is their crew. This is our crew. This is humanity's crew. May I introduce them to you all? She's an engineer who got her start at Goddard and is no stranger to breaking records, logging the longest continuous space flight ever by a woman, your mission specialist, Christina Hammett-Koch. He's a Master of Science in Physics, an F-18 pilot, and a Canadian astronaut. Your mission specialist, Jeremy Hansen. He's a naval aviator and test pilot that's flown over 40 different aircraft, most recently the first operational commercial crew mission. Your Artemis II pilot, Victor Glover. He's a decorated naval aviator, test pilot, and leader of the highest character. Your Artemis II commander, Reed Wiseman. Ladies and gentlemen, your Artemis II crew.
There you have it. We have now gotten to meet for a second the crew of the Artemis II mission that will orbit the moon in 2024. Christina Hammock-Koch, Jeremy Hansen, Victor Glover, and Reed Wiseman. They have just called those names for the first time. I want to bring in astrophysicist Hakeem Alusei for a little bit more on what this all means. Hakeem, what a moment for them to be part of history like this with this mission, but, you know, as pointed out by Bill Nelson, the administrator here, to stand on the shoulder of giants.
Mm-hmm. Yes, this is absolutely correct. You know, if you go all the way back to Apollo 1, right, we start off with this horrible accident, and then we have the heroes that we know so well, right, the Buzz Aldrins and the Neil Armstrongs, but even into our shuttle program, right, we lost astronauts there. And there's so many people, engineers on the ground, scientists that have given their careers and their lives for this mission to essentially elevate us all as human beings, right? We take a lot of national pride in it, but really, you know, this is a shout out for humanity. You don't see life on every planet. You don't see advanced technologies in advanced technological civilizations, and having us now develop the ability to go out to the moon where, you know, if you look at the Apollo astronauts, they were there for a few days. These people are going to be on the moon for weeks and months.
All right, and let's listen. And it seems like they're describing a little bit more about this crew.
I know who Mission Control will be calling on when it's time to fix something on board. So we appreciate you. Victor, you wanted to be 100 different things when you grew up, but I can say I'm truly thankful you ended up as a Navy pilot and an astronaut. Like so many, seeing other astronauts take flight planted the seed. And when you heard Pam Melroy speak at a test pilot conference, that was the moment you decided to apply. So Pam, thank you for inspiring others. Victor, you were the first person in your family to graduate from college. And you always talk about how much of the love and support of those around you made your dreams possible. I can honestly say I've never met anyone as determined as you are to spread that same love and support until everyone who passes into your orbit is better for it. You overcame every obstacle that came your way. Every obstacle. And then you dedicated your life to crushing those obstacles so that future generations can dream in a space unbounded. So thanks, Victor. And finally, Reed, an explorer from the beginning. The forest of your youth might be smaller than the frontier that you're heading for now, but this was always you. It's what you were meant to be. You said for a time you wanted to be a train engineer, but I don't think trains go quite as fast as you need them to, so I wish the Reed of your youth, the ones that, you know, that you're dealing with bullies, dealing with the uncertainties of growing up, could meet you now. Meet the Reed who took his first jet for a spin and knew he was meant to soar across the skies. The Reed who found a home and family in the Navy and here at NASA. The Reed who led our astronauts into a new era of space exploration, and the Reed who will lead Artemis II from the Earth to the Moon and safely back home again. All of you will lead us into this brave new frontier. You are the Artemis generation. We are the Artemis generation. And with that, I will hand it back over to our neighbors to the north to talk about Jeremy, who will take his own place in history.
I'm not going to talk about your early life or your lovely family. I'm not going to talk about your military service and everything you did as a fighter pilot, an F-18 fighter pilot. I'm not even going to talk about what you did as an astronaut and being the first Canadian to go on a lunar mission. I'm going to talk about your humanity and share with the world a story when I was with you at the Kennedy Space Center and I saw the power of the blue suit where we had hundreds of people storming to Jeremy. But Jeremy did one thing. He talked to each and every one. You took the time to talk to all the school children who were there, the Artemis generation, and they are here today and watching us. You took the time to inspire them. You took the time to thank all the teachers who are there to support our kids and teach them STEM skills that will bring them in exploration and being the future astronauts. You took the time to talk to each and every family that were coming from around the world and across North America. What I want to celebrate to you is your humanity. The fact that you have been inspiring not only us today, but keep inspiring humanity. To you, Jeremy, go Canada. Thank you, everyone.
So here we have it. Reed, Victor, Christina, and Jeremy. Each of these adventurers has their own story. But together, they represent our creed, e pluribus unum, out of many, one. This is the power of space. This is the power of our space program. It unites people. It brings them together. It brings parties together to explore, to discover, to dream. Together we will usher in a new era of exploration for a new generation of star sailors and dreamers, the Artemis generation. Together, we are going to the moon, to Mars, and beyond.
All right, let's give a big hand to our leadership. All right, you've heard from us, so now it's time to hear from your crew. I'm going to clear the stage, and I'm going to turn things over to our Artemis II commander, Reed Wiseman.
All right, so I got to ask the school kids, is it hot in here today? Woo! All right, and I don't think that in my 14 years at NASA, we've had this many astronauts in one place at one time. I'm losing my voice. We're having so much fun backstage. It is great to see this diverse international group. Awesome to be here with you guys. Woo! I'm going to hand it over to the gentleman to my right here, Victor Glover, who has become, in the last few years, an amazing mentor to me. I didn't ask for it. He didn't ask for it. It just happened that way. One of the best leaders I know, one of the best dads, husbands, and friends, and one of the most talented aviators I've ever met. Victor Glover.
Thanks, Steve. I appreciate that. Wow, what a day. Look at all of this. This is amazing, isn't it? I mean, after all of that, I feel like Denzel Washington should be up here talking to you. But you just got us. I want to thank God for this amazing opportunity. And I think I speak for all of us. I want to thank our families for the amazing support. It is your love and support that has made this journey possible. Please give them a round of applause. And to all of the folks who made this celebration possible, thank you for your hard work. They're the real ones in here sweating with all of us. But this is a big day. We have a lot to celebrate. And it's so much more than the 4 names that have been announced. We need to celebrate this moment in human history. Because Artemis II is more than a mission to the moon and back. It's more than a mission that has to happen before we send people to the surface of the moon. It is the next step on the journey that gets humanity to Mars. Yeah, you can clap for that. That's big. And this crew will never forget that. Now, we have a lot of work to do before we get there, and we understand that. And when talking about that work, you may often hear people say, human spaceflight is a marathon, not a sprint. But we have watched the people that work so hard to make our mission possible, and I can tell you, it is a series of sprints. That's called a relay race. Human spaceflight is like a relay race, and that baton has been passed generation to generation, and from crew member to crew member. From the Gemini, Mercury, Gemini, Apollo, Soyuz, Skylab, Mir, the shuttle, International Space Station, commercial crew, and now the Artemis missions. And we understand our role in that. And when we have the privilege of having that baton, we're going to do our best to run a good race to make you proud. Perfect. I pray that God will bless this mission, but I also pray that we can continue to serve as a source of inspiration for cooperation and peace, not just between nations, but in our own nation. Thank you, and God bless us all.
Thanks, Victor. Awesome words. What I wanted to highlight for all of you today is, big picture, when I step back, there are 2 reasons why a Canadian is going to the moon. That makes me smile when I say that. The first one is American leadership. It is not lost on any of us that the United States could choose to go back to the moon by themselves. But America has made a very deliberate choice over decades to curate a global team. And that, in my definition, is true leadership. A body, an entity that seeks out others who can contribute, allows them to rise up, lifts them up to make their contributions to bring their genius. That is American leadership. And as a Canadian, I am very proud to reflect that back to you. And I am grateful. All of Canada is grateful for that global mindset and that leadership. So thank you. The second reason is Canada's can-do attitude. For decades now, literally thousands upon thousands of Canadians have risen to that challenge to bring real value to the international partnership with respect to space exploration, to bring real solutions. Our scientists, our engineers, the Canadian Space Agency, the Canadian Armed Forces, across government, all of our leadership working together under a vision to take step by step, and all of those have added up to this moment where a Canadian is going to the moon with our international partnership, and it is glorious. So at the end of it all, I am left in awe of being reminded what strong leadership, setting big goals with a passion to collaborate and a can-do attitude can achieve. And we are going to the moon together. Let's go. Let's go.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, Reed. It is an honor to be here. I also want to thank our families, the Trailblazers, our colleagues, and our leadership. My fellow astronauts know that one of the questions we get all the time is, are you excited? And I can tell you, when I think about this mission that's a relay race with international partners, it's also so awesome in and of itself. We are going to launch from Kennedy Space Center through the work of the Exploration Ground Systems team. We're going to hear the words, "Go for launch," on top of the most powerful rocket NASA's ever made, the Space Launch System. And we're going to ride that rocket for 8 minutes into Earth orbit. We're not going to go to the moon right away. We're going to stay in an amazing high orbit, reaching a peak of tens of thousands of miles while we test out all the systems on Orion and even see how it maneuvers in space. And then, if everything looks good, we're heading to the moon. Yeah. It will be a 4-day journey, going 250,000 miles, continuing to test out every bit of Orion, going around the far side of the moon, heading home, going through the Earth's atmosphere at over 25,000 miles per hour and splashing down in the Pacific. So, am I excited? Absolutely. But my real question is, are you excited? I see you. And I ask that because the one thing I'm most excited about is that we are going to carry your excitement, your aspirations, your dreams with us on this mission. Artemis II, your mission.
We've just been listening as NASA and the Canadian Space Agency unveil the names of the 4 astronauts who will venture around the moon and travel aboard NASA's Orion spacecraft for the Artemis II mission. Mission specialist Christina Hammock-Koch is there on the right. Mission specialist Jeremy Hansen, pilot Victor Glover, and Commander Reed Wiseman will all go on a 10-day mission in 2024 to orbit the moon's poles. And they'll be serving landing spots for Artemis III, which is the next mission set for 2025, where astronauts there will actually land on the moon. I want to bring in astrophysicist and educator Dr. Hakeem Halusei and former NASA astronaut, professor of engineering at Columbia University, Mike Massimino, for more on this. Mike, this team is made up of 3 Americans and 1 Canadian. As a former astronaut, talk to me about what goes into this selection process and what it means for these 4 to be named to this mission.
Well, Dan, thanks for having me. I can't stop smiling. I know all of these people pretty well, and I think it's a great crew. It's a great day for the world, for the country, for everybody who's watching. I'm just so happy. There are a lot of great people that could have been selected, of course, for this. A lot of it is, people are assigned to other things and not available, but this is really a great choice, each one of them. And it's a huge opportunity. I was in Houston a couple times these past few months, and the excitement, I could feel it building. We had our reunion back in December, for example, and when Artemis was coming back, Artemis I was coming back that next day. It was a Saturday night, and when we had our reunion dinner, and I could just tell the excitement of all the astronauts that were there that we were doing this. And of course, you get 4 lucky, fortunate people that are going to be the crew. But I think all of us are just really happy for him. And it's an absolute great crew. Each one of those people are going to do a great job, and we're going to learn a lot, and I'm rooting for him, and I'm just happy for everybody down there.
Now, the approximately 10-day mission is going to be testing the spacecraft life support systems. Hakeem, how dangerous is a mission like this?
Well, first thing I want to say, I'm so happy to be on here with Mike. You know, every time I see him, I always think about the fact that he encouraged me to join the astronaut crew like 12 years ago. If only I had known. Anyway, listen, space is deadly to all life, right? And so the only reason why we can live here on Earth is because we have these many layers of protection. We have the sun's magnetic field, we have the Earth's magnetic field, we have our atmosphere, and then if you look at most life, it's under the oceans and under the Earth. So being exposed to the space environment with only your capsule to protect you is a very different situation. And if you're on the surface of the moon and you only have your spacesuit to protect you, you know, the radiation environment in space is not conducive to large molecules like DNA lasting for a long time undamaged. So, you know, there's not just the safety of the radiation shielding, but also the capsule needs to behave as you expect through takeoff, going through space, as well as reentry. So there's a lot to be tested here.
All right, Hakeem, Mike, thank you both so much for joining us. Also, a programming note, Gio Benitez will be speaking with those 4 astronauts at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. You can catch that interview right here on ABC News Live. We'll be right back with more of the day's other top stories. Stay with us.
A superhero of the Avengers who risked his own life to try to save his nephew.
Someone's been run over by a snowcat. Hurry, he's been crushed. There's a lot of blood on him.
7 tons of machinery bearing down Jeremy Renner.
I heard that in sign language you said to your family, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Do you remember the pain?
Oh, all of it.
The Diane Sawyer interview, Thursday night at 10/9 Central on ABC.
Welcome back. The LSU women's basketball team are waking up champions after defeating Caitlin Clark and the Iowa Hawkeyes. The Tigers pulled away in the second half and held off Iowa's comeback attempt to lift the trophy in the end. Meanwhile, UConn and San Diego State are set to face off in the men's championship tonight. ABC's Will Reeve has the latest.
LSU has captured